One of my favorite parts of being a Lego investor is watching the values go up after I buy a Lego set. I absolutely love just buying Lego sets right before they retire, before manufacturing stops, and then over the next few months watching what happens with the price, because prices start to go up on eBay and Amazon, and it's pretty exciting because you get validation on your set picks, the ones that you invested in. You get to know that the thing is working and what you thought would happen is happening, and you get to know that your value is going up. You're going to be able to sell that later this year or next year and then reinvest and build this thing into a business. Or of course, take the profit out and do with it what you will. So in the early parts of every calendar year, I get excited watching what happens in the early few weeks and months of Lego inventory that I just bought, that I just invested in, and not just sets that I invested in, but also sets that other people, my friends in the community, have invested in. I'm going to walk through some sets that are already starting to climb in value that just retired a couple of weeks ago. Right now we are in January. The end of December, we had a whole host of sets that retired, and already we're seeing values start to creep up on a lot of these different sets. So I randomly picked 9 sets that I know a lot of Lego investors have been looking at or buying in the last couple of months, and I pulled up the listings, and we're going to walk through what has been happening with these sets in the early couple of weeks of retirement. Are they going up in value? Are they already profitable if you invested in them? What is happening with these sets? Now, this doesn't mean that these are the 9 best performers in the early stages. There are many other sets out there that are climbing faster than some of these sets. I just picked 9 sets that I knew had started to move in price that were pretty popular in the communities and that people here have been investing in. And I hope that by watching this, if you invested in any of these sets, you start to get a peace of mind and get pumped about that investment that you made. So let's just jump in. And the first one we're going to talk about here is the Coliseum. So this is the Creator Expert Icons Coliseum Lego set. Massive set, of course, $550 MSRP, over 9,000 pieces, and released in 2020, retired at the end of 2023. Now, the interesting thing about the Coliseum is that this was not available in many retail stores. You really had to go to the Lego store if you wanted a good chance of getting this one. The Amazon listing is actually suppressed. Amazon didn't sell this set, so it's actually kind of hard to find on Amazon. So I've pulled up the eBay recent sales instead. We are going to use Amazon for the rest of them so we can actually see price charts. But on the Coliseum, we're going to kick off here with eBay listings. The interesting thing about this set is that there wasn't a whole lot of supply after it retired. After it retired, most Lego investors didn't have stock of it because a lot of people weren't sure how it was going to do as an investment. And honestly, it's an expensive set, so investing $550 for just one unit of it, it's not really what a lot of Lego investors wanted to do. So many people stayed on the sidelines and as a result missed out on this early price growth. In just a couple of weeks, we're seeing this set start to climb very, very quickly. It actually sold out early in Q4, so this has had a little bit longer to climb because stock in retail stores dried up faster. But we are seeing prices right now on eBay of close to $1,000. We're actually seeing one here. The most recent one was offer accepted under $1,100. We have one for $965. We have one for $800, which seems to be a bit of a steal. This person got a good deal on it. $900, $1,000, and then $700, $910. So we're seeing a bit of a range going on here in terms of this set. Some people are getting great deals on it with between $700 and $800, but we're also seeing $900s. We're seeing $1,000. So this one right here sold for $1,000. So this set is consistently selling for somewhere around the 900 mark at least. And if I were holding this set, which I'm not, I didn't buy it, but if I were, I would actually wait for an even better price because this is so early. We're seeing such quick movement on this set, and we are seeing a lot of sales. We're seeing sales every single day at these high prices on eBay. So Coliseum already doing quite well. People paying almost $1,000 for the Coliseum in the first couple of weeks of its official retirement. That is the first one here that I wanted to mention. And if you invested in it, then after you pay your eBay fees, you're already doing pretty well with this set. Now, you do have to account for your eBay fees, of course, but if you are this seller right here, you sell it for $1,000, your eBay fees will be around $130, and you are also charging shipping to the buyer. As you can see here, this person charged shipping to the buyer. Shipping will be very expensive on such a large set, so if you charge that to the buyer, that will not come out of your profit margin. And then after you pay that eBay fee, you're still doing pretty well in terms of the profit that you're going to get back into your pocket. And again, this is very early stages. If you just wait a little while longer, you could see this price continue to go up. So Coliseum, for any of you out there who invested in it, well done. You are off to a good start. Now, next up, we're going to look at some price charts. We use a tool here called Keepa, which can look at price history on Amazon. And here we're looking at the police station. So this is the Lego Icons modular building police station, off to a very good start in its retirement here. This was a $200 MSRP. You probably could have got it for a lot better. I personally bought a lot of these at a much better price than $200, but But even if you paid the full MSRP for this, you were already probably at somewhere around a 30% return on investment after you pay your fees, because the price right now is $320 on Amazon. So again, a $200 price you can see right here while Amazon were in stock, but now we can see the blue line start to creep up in the retirement after they went out of stock. Before the end of the year in December, the price was kind of flat, but it was a little bit high because it was actually at around 260, 250, 260. But in January, early January, we saw this price jump quickly to $330, and it's been somewhere in that region since then. Right now it's still at 320. Again, this is just weeks into the retirement of this set. Supply is low because even those investors who bought it, they haven't listed their inventory for sale yet because they just probably sold a lot of their inventory in Q4 and they're not yet listing the new stuff yet. But if you wanted to quickly get out of the police station right now, you could make a pretty good profit on it because this set's already at $320 in just weeks of retirement. Not bad for the police station, and this is a good early indication because again, this may not be the time you want to sell. You may want to hold it and see what happens from here. We have seen modular buildings in the past reach incredible heights in the retirement, and here we're seeing a good early sign for the police station. Next up, we will check out Thor's hammer. So this is Lego Thor's hammer, which was a Target exclusive in the US. What is going on with this one right now? We can see a buy box price on Amazon right now of $156. This was a $100 set, so a $100 MSRP. Now you could have got it way below 100 multiple times throughout this set's life. This was discounted a handful of different times. It was a Target exclusive, and that is one that they tend to lean into during the big deal days to try and attract people to the site and attract people to the stores. And if you got this $100 set for $80, then you're almost at double now in terms of what you paid for it. It's almost at 160. So this set has been creeping up pretty nicely. We can see it here. It started out at about 118 back in November. Now the reason it's not showing the MSRP here is because there was no Amazon listing of this, official listing. This was a Target exclusive. So even before the set retired, it was a little bit inflated on Amazon, $118. But since then, because it retired and started to dry up in Target, we see the price start to climb. And by the end of the year, it was at $170. Now it's come back a little bit down to 156 right now, but it was recently at 170. It will get back to 170, and it may not really take too long to get there. And we are seeing some very, very nice, strong early performance on Thor's hammer. If you invested in this set, then you're already doing pretty well. Now again, we're looking at Amazon US prices here. I know I'm going to get comments from people all around the world saying this is not what I'm seeing. I'm looking at Bricklink in, you know, a different country, and this is not what we're seeing here. I understand we're looking at Amazon US prices because this is where I sell, this is where I run my business, and this is where I focus my attention. So prices will be different depending on what market you are in and what platform you sell on. So make sure to go check your own prices. And some of these sets may not be doing as well on your marketplace, but other sets may be doing even better. So things will look different depending on the platform and the marketplace. Next up, we will look at the Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage. So again, this was another set that was exclusive in the US to Target, and right now we are seeing the price, the buy box in the US at $160. So pretty quick growth on this set. Again, 160 just weeks of retirement. It was a $100 set. Now again, you could have bought this at a lower price as well. If you paid full MSRP, you're paying 100. But if you got it during the deal days, you could have got it for at least 80 when it was discounted. So if you bought it for 80 right now, it is selling for double what you paid for it. Now that doesn't mean you're doubling your money because you do need to pay the Amazon fees, but if you wait a little longer and the price continues to go up, then that's the point where you could be doubling your money on this investment. And I know many of you out there invested in this set. This was a popular one in the community for a good reason. It's a real nice looking display piece. It is the Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World, so it is iconic. And we have the two Jeeps, we have the T-Rex. It just depicts everything you want in Jurassic Park. And it's just going to look great on a shelf. And in fact, I'm thinking about cracking open one of my units of this set that I have in inventory because I just kind of want to build it. It's just a fantastic looking build. I love the way it looks. It's a great set. $160 for T-Rex Breakout right now on Amazon.com. Next up, Republic Fighter Tank. This is a set that everyone wants me to talk about, of course, because a lot of you out there invested in it. This set was heavily discounted during Black Friday. I think it was $25. And so right now it's at $50 on Amazon. Now, this hasn't actually moved much. So the reason we're talking about this is not really to show that the price is shooting up. It is to show that if you bought it at that price on Target and you're selling on Amazon in the US, you're doing okay because you bought it at 25. It is now double of what you paid for it. You are already profitable, and from here the price will continue to go up. The price was higher in the past. Back in October the price was at 56, but then the supply started to ramp up, and on this bottom chart here we can see the supply skyrocketing because of Black Friday, to the point where there were more than 300 different sellers that had this available for sale on Amazon in the US. Now 300 sellers is a lot for a Lego set, and that's not Lego investors. A lot of that was just Amazon flippers, online arbitragers, people who sell on Amazon but they sell all sorts of different items and were jumping on Black Friday deals. We had over 300 available for sale immediately after Black Friday. The Lego investors are probably still sitting on a lot of their inventory right now because we know what's going to happen with the price from here on out. The set is retired now and the price started to come back up. If we look at this top chart again, we can see over the course of Q4 and December, the price started rising again, and right now, actually recently, we had it back at that $55 price. Right now it has dropped a little bit back down to this $50 mark, but very recently we can see in the chart here it was at 55. It will not take long to jump back to 55 and to 60 and to 65. I think the prospects for this set are pretty strong, especially if you bought it at that $25 purchase price during Black Friday, or even better if you got cash back and all of that stuff. So next up we are going to look at the Birds of Paradise. Now this is the first botanical set to retire. This is a new theme that we don't really have a whole lot of track records on in terms of investing, but we do know that it's one of the most sought after Lego themes on the market today. The sales on the botanical sets are outstanding, and the first one to retire is the Birds of Paradise. Now this set had a lot of naysayers. There were a lot of people who were saying there's no way this set will do well as an investment because it is a lot more expensive than the other botanical sets. It doesn't look as nice as a lot of the other botanical sets, and it's just less sought after than a lot of the other botanical sets. This set was discounted frequently throughout its life, and that led some Lego investors to think that the demand was not very strong on it. Now for me, I've always had high hopes for this set. I always felt like the demand would be strong because the botanical collection overall will lift the demand for this set. There's so much collectability and so many people are getting into those sets in general and will want to finish out their collection by looking for the botanical Birds of Paradise. So over the last couple of weeks, we have seen a real nice price jump on this set. We can see that it was 110 throughout most of December. It was actually 95 at the end of November here. And in the last couple of weeks, in mid-January, we can see it jumped to 125 right before Christmas, and it came into January in 125. But from the 4th of January to the 12th of January, a space of around a week, this set jumped from $125 to $180 on Amazon. So we had very fast price growth when the supply was lower, and we had quick price growth because the demand was still strong. Now since then it has popped down a little bit, so it's dropped to 160 right now, but that is the regular price. The buy box is 185, and the buy box is the big buy button on the listing. So usually the sales are going to the buy box. It gets more of the sales than anything else. So this set is actually selling at 185. Now that buy box may change because there is a bit of a bump above the new price right now, but even if the buy box goes away, you're still selling at 160, soon to be 170, 180, 190. I can see this set climbing very quickly. We just saw the low price at 180. We now see the buy box at 185. This set is going great. Now if you paid full MSRP for this, you would have been paying $100. Even at full MSRP right now, if you sell it for 185, you're probably at around 50% return. That's without doing the calculations, and after you pay your fees and everything, you're probably at around 50% return. So you're doing really well in very early stages here. This is weeks after retirement of the Birds of Paradise set. For me, I'm gonna wait longer. I do think that I will be doubling my money on this set for sure, especially if you got this at a deal. I did not pay full MSRP for this set. I got a really good price on these sets. These were heavily discounted during Black Friday, but also other parts of the year during its life. And if you bought this set at even 20% off right now, you are selling it for more than double what you paid for it. You're doing pretty well. Birds of Paradise, great start to this set. Next up, let's have a quick look at Venom. I know there was a lot of interest in the Venom set. This is a helmet set, of course, from Marvel. The Carnage set retired the previous year, and there was a lot of collectability. Carnage did great as an investment. What is happening with Venom in these early stages? We can see it sold out in the end of November right here. Right before it sold out, it was selling for $45. So you could have got this for $45, and in fact you could have got this for $45 pretty consistently. Also, you could have got it at that price from Target, and so there were a lot of chances in the US to get Venom for $45 over the last couple of months. Immediately after it sold out, we see this price jump to $78, or just around $78, and from there it actually stayed at around that price price into December. We see these little spikes up to 85 happening a couple times, and then it goes back to around $76, $77. Again, you could have bought it for 45, so even at 76, you're already in the green on this set. And then over the course of Q4 into the end of the year, it was up at around $78 or $79, around $80 price. Now, since then, we've had these little spikes happening. Right now, it is still at around that price, around $77.68, but we've had these little spikes happening very, very frequently. As you can see over here, all these little blue lines that are shooting up, and these spikes are bringing the price up, and it's happening pretty often. It's happening around $93 a lot of the times on these spikes. It's jumping up to 93. What's happening there is a lowball seller is coming in at the current price at around 77, but then they're selling out, and the price is jumping up to some of the next sellers in line, and they have a higher price. Then another lowballer is coming back in at this old market price, and that's continuously happening. So it's only going to take a little bit longer before those lowballers stop listing it at 77.68 and start to realize that this price, there's actually demand for this at higher prices, and so the price is going to quickly start to get up to those higher prices. But even at 77, if you bought this at 45, you're doing pretty well in the early stages on Venom. If you paid full MSRP, I think the MSRP in this set was 60, so if you paid full MSRP right now, it's still above, of course, it's going in the right direction. It isn't massively high performing right now, but if you paid the 45, you're doing pretty well. And it's just a matter of time before we see this getting up to that $90 price. I think it's going to go a lot further than that. So that is what we're seeing in Venom right now. Let's have a quick look at the Inquisitor transport scythe. I know that this is one that everybody was interested in the community. I personally didn't invest in this set, but I just pulled it up just to show you what's happening with it because I know there is interest. If I zoom out to the year mark, we can see that it was selling on Amazon for $100. Now, you could have got it at a much better price a couple of times in Black Friday. We saw some really good deals on the scythe, but it dried up on Amazon back in September. And then we see this quick jump in the price up to 120. Now, throughout October, November, it was in and around 120, 115, 117, 120. Throughout December, we start to see the price climb. So now we're at 125 in December. And now in January, you're at 129. So again, if you paid full MSRP for it, $100, it's now at 129. And after you pay your fees, you're going to be pretty much breaking even on this one. So then as we continue to see this one climb, it's going to be pure profit. And that is if you paid the full $100 for this, but really you should have been able to get this at a much better price, and you should be already in the green on the transport scythe. And then let's have a quick look at the Hungarian Horntail. So this is a Harry Potter set, of course. This is in the same range as the Hedwig and Fox set, a similar buildable flying dragon. And here we have a kind of a real highly displayable set, 76406. Right now on Amazon, the price is $76.75, almost $77. This was a $50 purchase price at MSRP, but you should have been able to get it at a better price. A lot of people were buying this for 40, and again, if you bought it for 40, right now it's at 77. You're doing pretty well, and that's not even counting cashback, credit card points, and different things you could have got when you bought it for that $40 purchase price. You are already in the green on the Hungarian Horntail, already quickly jumping in price. We can see back here before the end of the year, it was around $55, but as soon as we got into January, we had an immediate jump in price up to $80 here. And we can see that jump right there, up to $80 on the Hungarian Horntail set. Again, that is the jump we wanted to see in the first week of January. Very, very early stages for the set. If you bought it for 40 and it jumps up to 80, that is double what you paid for it. And then after you pay your fees, you're doing it pretty well. So the Hungarian Horntail also off to a pretty good start. And if you're unimpressed by some of these return on investments, you need to remember that we are just weeks into retirement on these sets. Typically, I like to hold for 12 to 18 months. If you could buy a stock for $40 and a couple of weeks later it was selling for 80, you know, you could make yourself quite wealthy. So what we see with Lego sets here, it's really strong indication. And again, this is just a sample of 9 sets. There are many other sets out there that are moving even faster than these. These are sets that I knew people were buying, people were interested in, my community have been talking about, and so they were top of mind for me. So these are the ones that I picked. So I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that if you invested in any of these sets, you are excited about what you're seeing in some of the early performance of these sets. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. What other sets have you been watching the early performance? Is there anything that you think is underperforming? Anything that is overperforming your expectations? Let me know and let's get that conversation going. And while you're down there, make sure to click the link to join our free Facebook group. If you want to talk about Lego investing, you got to be in our free Facebook group. There's a link in the description down below. And with that, thank you so much for being here. I'm Shane from BrickBox.net, and this is the year that we lift off and be free.